Appeals, December 8th meeting to order. Could I have roll call, please, B?
Mr. Laura?
Present?
Mr. Lorenzini?
Here.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes, he is.
Mr. Delaporte?
Here.
Mr. Gallardi?
Here. All right, first order of business on tonight's meeting's agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from November 24th, 2020. I understand Shalice sent in a couple of revisions today. Those revisions are incorporated now into the minutes, correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay, did everybody have a chance to review those minutes?
Yes.
Any, besides Shalice changes, any other changes? Revisions, nothing? Okay, could I have a motion, please, to accept the minutes as amended?
Yeah, I make motion to.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved.
John seconded.
Okay, John, okay.
Got it? All righty. Second order of business tonight is appeal number 207714, Kevin and Jenna Ferris, seeking an area variance, section 240-37 of district regulations in an R40 zoning district, where 25 feet is required to the side yard property line. The applicant can provide 12 feet for the construction of a 12 by 20 foot shed, thus requesting a variance of 13 feet. The property is located at 15 Alfreda Drive and is identified as tax grid number 615703-06987 in the town of Wappinger. Could I have a motion, please, to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, Kevin and/or Jenna, why don't you come up, please? Kevin, what we usually do with this for the benefit of the public and the board, and anybody listening in, we ask you to just give us a brief description of what you need and why you need it.
Okay.
So everybody gets an idea.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. We're just looking to replace our existing shed with a larger shed, which is a little bit more than, a little less than double the size. And we just don't have the required setbacks to it would be the right side of our property. As it's stated in the application, it's, we can provide about 12 feet, and we need 25 feet, so.
Yeah. Actually, now I was able to sneak out there today, so I gotta look at what's going on. And then everybody else was there. Everybody make it Saturday? Everybody else make it Saturday?
Yes, before me.
You'll make it Saturday? I mean, I could see, what you're kinda up against there. You got a pretty decent sized property, but you got, between topography and encumbrances, you're trying to squeeze up stuff into the usable space, right?
Exactly, yep.
And I get that, and I see that. I know, I don't think Tom had mentioned maybe, that you have a 13-foot variance, which is quite large, but I don't know, if anybody else have any other questions or concerns for the applicant after you were out there to see what was going on?
I believe we had asked if you could maybe just move the shed over.
Yeah,
a foot.
sorry I wasn't there on Saturday, I had to work, but,
That's okay.
My wife had explained that to me, and that's not a problem. I mean, I can squeeze another, 6 inches to a foot to get that a little bit further away to make the variance a little easier, if that is, needed.
Okay, so if we go ahead and the applicant agrees to do that, how do we memorialize that, Barbara?
I'm sorry, I was looking at another agenda,
Sorry.
trying to catch up for later. I'm sorry, how much are you willing to move it in?
I mean, I can give another, 6 inches to a foot or so, if needed.
6 inches to a
To
foot?
a foot, yeah.
At least foot.
So, I mean, what we're
Okay,
trying
so
to do is, go
you-
ahead.
So you need 25 feet,
Yes,
and right now you're providing 12 feet.
correct.
So you need 13. So is that something you'd entertain, 6 inches to a foot?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
You have to pick one, you can't.
Foot, yeah,
Yeah,
foot.
right.
Okay, we can do a foot. I mean, it'll be right on the edge of the pad that's
Yeah.
constructed, but that's okay.
Okay.
Is there strong reason not to move it further over? It seems like you could be closer to the house, it's outside the
I'd
necessity
be
to
a
have a
lot
gate.
closer to the house in that case, and I'd also be almost on top of my pool. We probably wouldn't even be able to get the doors open, it would be so close to the pool, so that would kind of be the issue.
Yeah, I do see what he's up against there with topography and everything else going on in that backyard. I know the guys had asked just to reduce it to get it to that 50% or less mark. We asked the applicant to, relocate it over a foot. And I think if he's willing to do so, I'm willing to make the change, So
Okay.
so the variance then would change, correct?
So the variance would be smaller by
Correct.
1 foot. So we would change this to read that where 25 feet to the side property line is required, the applicant can now supply or provide
13.
13 feet, thus requesting a variance for 12 feet.
Correct,
And that would be the motion.
correct. Okay,
Yeah, I'm willing to, the more the better. I mean,
Sure.
I think John had said that he thought, this is just us.
Sure.
Lining it up with the edge of the driveway might look nice to us, but we don't know about you.
So the issue that we would have with that would be, we're actually planning on putting a fence in directly in front of the shed, so we wouldn't wanna bring it right to the edge of the driveway there. That would kinda throw off our whole plan there, you know?
It wasn't this
It's
way,
not
it was
that major.
this way, just lining it up with the edge
Oh,
of the
lining it up
driveway.
even with the blacktop?
Right,
Then, I mean, I
keeping
would-
it, your setback away from the blacktop that
Yeah.
you already had.
Yeah, I would then, again, it'd be pretty tough for me to get my doors open and then get my equipment around it. You know, I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, who really are into motorsports, so it's a little tough with our machinery and my lawnmowers and everything like that, so it would make things a little bit more awkward for me.
How much space are you anticipating needing to get equipment out? I know it's an elevation with the ramp and everything.
I mean, so my lawnmower is 42 inches wide, my ATV is 48 inches wide. Their machines now, I think, are about 3 feet wide and about 40 inches wide, and they're only gonna get bigger, so it kinda makes it difficult. And just aside, that's where the existing shed was, so that's where we were kinda trying to keep the same layout in the backyard.
but basically, keeping the footprint, just making it a little bit bigger.
Correct.
Location,
Exactly.
making it,
Yep.
expanding the footprint.
And I mean, there's no major,
say.
it wouldn't majorly affect anyone. My next door neighbor, it's their driveway, so it's not like it's usable space for them that they use outside,
Right, right.
You were saying that if you move it just over,
5 feet.
maybe 2 feet,
Mm-hmm.
that your backyard will sort of become less usable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we did see it, but it's not our yard.
Sure.
I didn't see what you were saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you got a
I mean,
lot.
you're essentially
lot
putting,
going on
my
back
only
there.
patch of grass back there that I have,
Yeah.
I'd be putting a shed on it. As opposed to just taking the existing footprint of where the shed is now and just using that space. There was already a shed there, we weren't using it. And it would make it a lot easier to have that space in between the shed and the pool to do whatever we want, There's not a lot more options for me to, for instance, toss a football with my kids or play baseball or something like that. So, kinda takes away my whole
You
yard.
got a lot going on back there.
I think the problem what I see is, once we granted to one family, one person, everybody else can ask same
Understand,
thing.
yeah.
So we have to be, as a group, we have to be sensitive to that issue. It's not only a property, but overall picture. So that's why we don't like to see that high
Sure.
variance required.
Yeah, I know there was the question of, the 50%.
Yeah.
And if I can slide that over, I can provide that.
Yeah.
That's something that we can work out.
All right.
That's a judgment call on our end, that we would like to see that.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I think the only reason I would potentially be okay with the 50% is because of the neighboring driveway. I think that is a unique site condition when
Yeah.
your neighbor's house is set back
Yeah, so far.
pretty far. I mean, it's not really usable space for them in the front there either, and it never will be.
Right.
Which I think is a strong argument why it's okay having a structure at that location.
Yeah, and I think that the topo of the lot too limits you in what you could do and where you could place that
Right,
shed.
right, right.
Yeah, all right. Then, go ahead.
Did you say you have ATVs?
I do.
Okay, so just so you know, that in the town of Wappinger, you need 2 acres to ride them on your property.
Okay, we don't ride on my property anyway.
Okay, so when I heard how many you have,
Yeah,
and they're gonna get bigger.
yeah.
I don't think, I think you'd have a heck of a time riding
Yeah.
on that property. All right, if there are any more questions or discussions, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Can I have a second?
I make a
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, can I have a motion, please, to either grant or deny the applicant the variance as amended?
I'll make the motion that we grant the variance as amended.
I second it.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the requested variance will not produce a non-desirable change in the character of the neighborhood. There's no substantial detriment will be created to nearby properties. There are no other feasible methods available for you to pursue to achieve the benefit you seek other than requested variance. The requested variance is not substantial. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. And the alleged difficulty is self-created, but I still believe that you should be granted your variance.
Hey, could I have a second?
I'll make a second.
Can I have a roll call, please, B?
Before we proceed, I just want to make sure of the language. So the variance is going to be
12 feet.
12 more inches from what you, or 1 foot more than what you're saying? That's
Yes.
what- okay.
Correct.
Yep.
So for the record, where 25 feet to the side property line is required for this property, the gentleman and owner can provide 13 feet, thus you're granting a variance for 12 feet.
Correct,
Good, yes.
correct.
Thank you, Barbara.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Barr?
Yes?
Mr. Lorenzini?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Delacorte?
Yes.
Mr. Gallardi?
Yes. And so your variance has been granted.
Thank you very much.
And I don't know if everybody here, anybody has homework for you, but,
No, so at this time, when we go back to the office tomorrow, Mr. Gunty will fix and record the decision.
Okay.
He'll then come to me, I'll take the denial, make it approved, and it'll go to the building department.
Okay,
So you'll hear from them in a few days
Okay.
about your permit.
excellent. All right, thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Good
it.
night.
very much.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, so I am going to request, the next appeal, Over Creek, is somewhat lengthy, so I'm gonna request that we jump to the appeal number below that, and then we'll get back to Over Creek. Okay? So we are going to then now go to appeal number 27716, Greg Caruso and Alicia Conroy, seeking an area variance, section 24037 of district regulations in the R40 zoning district, where 25 feet is required to the side yard property line. The applicant can provide 21.2 feet for the construction of a 309 square foot master bedroom and 118 square foot mudroom addition, thus requesting a variance of 3.8 feet. The property is located at 91 Hackensack Heights Road and is identified as tax grid number 6259-04734453 in the town of Wappinger. Could I have a motion, please, to open the public hearing?
I make a motion to
Could I have a
open.
second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
So, Mr. Chairman, before you go further,
Yes.
so we looked at the survey,
Yes,
and we plotted the addition,
yes.
and it turns out that due to the topography and the lines on the left side of the property, they actually would have 20 feet from the rear line of the addition instead
Okay.
of 21.2.
Okay.
So we need to amend the application to be where 25 feet to the left side of the property line is required, the applicant can provide 20 feet, thus requesting a variance of 5 feet.
Got it. Okay. All righty.
Thank you, Barbara.
Sure.
Thanks, Barbara. All right, so Greg or Alicia, if you want to step forward, yeah, come on up. And as you see, at this point in time, as we did before, we asked the applicant just give a brief description for the public's benefit and for the board as well, what you need and why you need it.
Okay, so basically our house right now is in L, as you guys saw on Saturday, and, the mudroom portion is on the other side of the house, and we don't necessarily need the variance, but I wanted all of it to be out there in the open of what
Sure.
we're doing.
Sure.
So basically, we just wanna square off the, back of our house, which is that, master bedroom addition. We're a growing family, my wife's expecting, and we just need more room. When we bought the house, you know, we had the survey done and everything, and our house is not perfectly square on our property.
Yeah, it's a
And
skew. right?
it's a strange layout, and, you know, on the survey, you see a rock wall as part of like the property line. Not necessarily, like, you know, my neighbors and I, we're all get along, so when we measured it out, you know, when you guys came out, we realized that that rear corner is gonna be a little further over, you know,
A
to the
little
property
closer to the
line. A
property
little
line.
closer,
Right.
but again, we're just squaring up the back of our house and still keeping the look of our house, because we love, you know, that the house was built in the fifties, so we're trying to keep that same look of the house. So we don't wanna like go further out or anything like that, we kinda just wanna keep everything contained
Right,
within
gotcha.
that space that we have allowed to utilize the rest of our backyard and stuff. We're on about an acre, so like I
Yeah,
said,
the
we-
lot, you have a pretty much a long skinny lot, I guess would be the best description, right?
Yes,
Not-
and you know, we have
Don't have a lot of width.
children and, you know, we have dogs and stuff like that, so we just wanna, you know, utilize, you
Right,
know,
gotcha.
gain space to live in there and whatnot, but also just, you know, we like the area we're in and whatnot, so.
Sure. Yeah, and looking at it, I could see that, it's pretty, fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't, do you guys have any other additional questions or concerns for the applicant?
I have nothing. We talked on Saturday quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
but
appreciate
it's-
you guys, you know, coming out and giving me the time and, you know, I can't move the whole house, so I'm just trying to, you know,
No.
that'd be a tough order.
Might be asking too much, I think.
People do though.
Yeah,
We've seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen that. Yeah, I mean, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Anybody in the audience here on behalf of this application? All right, so as the records show, no other comments. I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Could I have a motion, please, to grant or deny the applicant the variance?
I make a motion to grant the permission.
Let me go through the conditions here.
I'll second that, by the way.
Well, you gotta go through the
I know.
conditions.
Just wanna know I second it.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Yes, I think making a change, it will not cause any major deteriorations in the neighborhood property. It is feasible, no other feasible method to make the house and the new construction would look same. So what you are asking for variance is, I think, right thing to do. The variance what you are asking is not substantial. It is almost like 10-12%, but not significant. It is man created. It is known that the owner has knew before, but it should not cause any other environmental or any other concern. So I would say we should accept and give the variance.
Great. Now could I have a second?
I'll second.
Change my mind.
All right, so we have a second. Can I have a roll call, please, B?
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Delacorte,
Yes.
Mr. Galani.
Yes. So your variance has been granted.
thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have great holidays. Happy
Yeah.
New Year.
You too, thanks.
You as well.
Thank you.
You'll hear from the building department
Okay.
within a week.
All right, awesome, thank you, have a great night.
Thank you, too.
Let me go ahead, everyone.
I can't figure out what grid goes to what lot.
Okay. So,
We'll have the applicant's professional clear that up after you open it.
okay. So in going through
You can just do lot one, two variances, lots, what, you want to hear?
your notes. Okay, so let's see, this would be the fourth item on tonight's agenda, I believe. All right, the next item on the agenda is appeal number 27715, Ober Creek Lot Line Realignment, seeking an area variance, section 240-37 of district regulations in an R40/80 and R80 zoning districts, where Lot 1 will require 3 variances, Lot 2 would require 1 variance, Lot 4 would require 6 variances, Lot 5 would require 9 variances, and Lot 6 would require 2 variances, and lot 7 will require 2 variances as well. Could I have a motion, please, to open the public hearing?
Motion open?
Can I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. Okay, so is anybody in the audience tonight here to represent Ober Creek? I recognize you.
Hi, good evening. And thank all of you for coming out on Saturday in
Sure.
not the best weather.
For the record, just for the record, yeah, state your name,
Okay.
please.
My name is Alex Reese,
All
and
right,
I'm the
Alex.
owner of Ober Creek Farm.
Wonderful, all right, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Kyle, not my usual Kyle, but Kyle number 2.
This is different Kyle?
And as you all know, this is a map of Ober Creek, or a portion of Ober Creek Farm. There are several structures that were built back in the 19th century and in the early 20th century, well before any zoning. Today, they are mainly used as rental houses. There are cases where there are 2 houses on one lot. There are cases where houses share one septic system, and there are cases where houses share a well. There's a case where there's a house right next door or close to the agricultural barns that we're having. And so our goal here is to try to come up with a system where all these houses can be on their own lots with their own septic system and their own wells. And now that's easier said than done, and Chase and Companies did a lot of research trying to figure out how we can change the lot lines around to accommodate all this. And we came up with this plan. This plan starts with 7 lots, and 5 houses, and it ends up with 7 lots. Of the 7 original lots, 2 were vacant. This ends up with just 1 being vacant at the end of it. There are a lot of variances, and I apologize for that, but most of them relate to existing structures, which I really can't do much about because they're part of the built environment. I think in general, I hope this will allow these renter units to be fixed up and owned by neighbors for the long haul. And I think they are in keeping with the general neighborhood that we have around the farm. And that's my, he's the expert.
Kyle, has anything else to add? Go ahead.
Sure, so I'm filling in for Kyle Ahern tonight from the Chase and Companies. And similar to what Alex said, you know, kind of the goal here was to come up with 7 lots as there are existing and have each one come into conformance with, you know, up-to-date standards for septic and well. Some of the variances required are area, but similar to what Alex said, is kind of in the area, this subdivision would kind of match, you know, what you can find out there. So although they're slightly smaller, they'll kind of fit the scheme of what's going on out there. So I know you guys went on Saturday to look at some of the conditions out there, and I was gonna open up to any comments or questions on the variances requested.
I think we were all there on Saturday, nice cold and wet day. And we got a pretty good look, you know, at the lots and what you got going on there. We also have the understanding of what you're trying to do here. You know, the lots are non-conforming, but you're in essence trying to make the non-conformity less, so to speak, if that's makes sense. You know, and we understand what you're trying to do, and how you basically had to jump through hoops to try to make that happen and go through the painstaking, you know, lot movings and the engineering, and it all goes with that, you know. Understanding all that, I mean, the guys here, we were all out there, we got a look. When we were there, he did a great job of explaining what you had, what you need, and what you're doing. And you're basically just, you know, like I said, mentioned before, making the lots less non-conforming. You know, still non-conforming, but less non-conforming. And I don't know if you guys maybe have any additional comments or questions for the applicant,
No, I don't, I have any questions.
no? Is anybody
Just
in the-
looking at the
I'm sorry.
list
Dave,
of
go
what
ahead.
you're asking for, yeah, I agree, most of these are existing conditions, are being made better. I think with the exception of site 2 and site 4, I would just appreciate hearing some, for the record, why site 2 cannot be stretched backwards and why another area from site 3 can be transferred to site 4.
Okay, let's see where we are. Well, lot 2 is the house that my great aunts used to live in at the top of the drive. And the reason that we wanted to keep it to this side is I want to keep this for continuing agricultural use, the barns, and I want to keep this field for continuing agricultural use. There is an access road that leads to the barn right here along this lot line, and then comes down here to the farm stand. And that sort of delineated where the lot lines were drawn. And that's basically the background. There is existing septic and well for this house.
So if it's stretched back, would be basically interfering with that access road that you have there currently?
We have an access road, and I really want to keep this for agricultural use.
Because for that lot, it's 18,000 square feet?
1.41 acres.
Yeah, so to get to the
Less
zoning required size, how far back would that rear lot line have to extend?
Well, it
Sorry.
can't extend this way because these are where the barns are.
Yeah, would it have to extend?
So it would have to
That
come
way,
down in this
yeah.
way across the access road into this area where we used to do U-pick for flowers. And we did pumpkins there once. One year.
Okay. Do you know the rough distance it would have to extend back? I don't know what the length of that back property line is.
I would have to go back and look at the map.
Okay.
I get that. What you have there, you have the access road pretty close to that rear property line, right?
Yeah.
Right
we have
there,
access
right.
Going along here and
Right,
then
so-
comes down.
So if you were to expand those lot lines any further, then you would need an easement, you know?
An easement
to-
or moving of the road,
Yeah.
yeah.
An easement that would run to the benefit of that property, and I could see where that'd be a little bit another nuisance. What was your other lot, Dave?
Lot 4 and lot 3. I know lot 3, you're saying that the logical entrance to that site kind of set where the boundary for lot 4 was.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, lot 4, we had to take a little sliver out of it to provide the distance for a well for lot 5, which used to be a very small little lot, which we increased in size. Lot 4 was really, the question there was, it was a small house on Marleville Road that was attached to a 7-acre lot originally. And this was the one area that we thought could be an attractive place for another house. And the only way to get access in terms of a drive is out to Marleville Road. Marleville Road topo is very steep up here, so this is the only way to get access for a house there. So that basically determined the size of this lot. And it's basically larger than most of the lots across the street and everything like that. So that was my thought in that.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like lot 3 is a very large lot that's being left. I don't know if it's
Well,
bad.
this is all steep.
Yes, so the argument is that that's unusable, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a lot of acres there, but it's not really usable acres.
Did you get a chance to take a ride down around, or did you?
Yeah, I
I
would
mean, I
ride it.
saw what the
And,
Geography would
you know,
show.
I guess the argument is, you know, there's two houses, you know, right off of 91, right there. Just dealing with similar topo,
Yes.
Well, these two houses are
they're very close to the road.
totally non-conforming.
Yeah.
And these are also rental houses. We haven't dealt with those yet because we can't figure out a way of splitting them apart.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to live with that one way or another for the future. But my goal here is to, you know, fix these up and have, you know, neighbors own them.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, you got a lot of topography down on that bottom side of the property.
Yeah, I mean, I think those two areas are really the only
Yeah,
new non-conformances being created, which I think it's, you know,
correct.
worth looking at those for that reason.
I understand. Is there any, besides from the board, is there anybody in the audience that is here to speak on behalf of this application?
Yes, I actually.
Excuse me,
Could you,
you just have to come up
Yeah,
to the
sure,
microphone. Just give them 1 minute to clean it.
hold on,
Judith's
let's go
gonna do
through
her
our
magic.
protocol. Right, for the record, name and address, please.
Eleanor Melendez, 49 Marlerville Road,
Gotcha.
and I live, I believe, right next to Lot 6, where they're looking to expand. And according to the maps that I've got to look at,
Right,
it appears that you want to put a septic system and drainage area right at my fence line outside of my bedroom windows.
Lot 6.
There's Mike Smith, my house, and then the empty lot next to me.
Oh, this one, yes. This one right here, and this is you?
Correct,
Yes, exactly.
that's me.
This is before it was changed, Lot 6 is a DOHA approved lot, and we just are expanding it.
Well, my concern is how deep are you going to put it? Will there be issues?
Are you talking about a new septic system there, or is it an existing septic system?
No.
There's nothing there.
Nothing there.
So it's the new septic system
There's a
going in next to your
proposal for
property?
one, and according to the map, was one of the other maps, that it is quite literally going to be at my fence line, which
This
is
was
right
a-
outside my bedroom window. Now, the farm is also behind us. We bought the house 12 years ago, and my husband was one of the 9/11 cleanup guys. And when we bought the house, this was a peaceful, serene, your big white buildings, granted, they do a lot of great work. But that wonderful field, we heard, oh, they're not gonna build over there, you see the deer coming in, there was wooded lot in front of us. We weren't encumbered by anybody, it was peaceful and serene and calm. And now we have giant white buildings outside of our kitchen window, where, and I hate to say it, but they deliver the huge pile of manure. So in the summertime, I have this wafting through my kitchen window. Now my concern is, I sleep with my windows open at night and when the weather's compatible. Am I gonna have to worry about an overloaded septic system that's right outside my bedroom window? I'm not saying don't do it. What I am offering is, would you like to buy my house for $50,000 under market value? I'll be happy to leave. And that's about, my concern was how deep.
right, well, the
Is it gonna
septic
be-
system is subterranean, right? The septic field and the septic system is all underground.
Yes, as is mine.
Right.
And as we all know, that when they get overloaded, it surfaces.
The trick is not to overload them.
Right.
Is that our concern?
If it's
Right.
properly designed and installed, which we're assuming it will be.
Sure, so yeah, I mean,
Could I just clarify, I did purchase that lot, several years ago. It was purchased with a plan for a house and a septic system on that was approved by the Board of Health.
Right.
And I have no plans imminently to do anything with it at the moment.
I thought that's where the house was going.
No.
In lot 6.
Lot 6 is a buildable lot, and it is a buildable lot without any changes to it.
Well, it says proposed three-bedroom house, and not on this map, but
There
One of
is
these
a
other maps shows
VOHA
that the-
approval for a plan.
Right.
the approval for the, right, for the septic tank would be at this end of the yard. And that was just my concern.
And I understand that. That
Go-
was- that-
go ahead,
So,
Barbara.
I just want to
So
clarify,
BOH,
I just want to clarify that septic and wells are totally within the Department of Health's purview. So this is also at the planning board.
Okay,
So you haven't had the public hearing there yet, right?
no.
So you'll get notified again. There'll be signs up when they go back to the planning board, should all these variances or any of them get granted. At this point, when you go to the planning board, they can do the setbacks for where the house could be, and it's a general area. So it's really up to the builder. As far as where the septic and well will go, that's out of our purview. That's the
Okay.
Department of Health, that's their agency's decision. So that's not this board's place to make, but I think that that is a good issue for you, and that should be taken up at the planning board. Just so you know that it's not, we're ignoring you here. I'm
Absolutely,
just sending you to
absolutely.
the right place
Absolutely.
when that comes up.
Excuse me.
On our end, lot 6 was getting bigger, that was a major change, yeah, right? It was getting bigger and you were keeping an easement for that road to the
Exactly.
brewery.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
That's correct.
And I apologize, we did put up our greenhouses, and that's spoiled your view, I apologize.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Hey, well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience want to speak on behalf or against the variance? No? You'd like to come up? Your name, please name and address, please.
My name is Kate Christie, and I live at 10 Marleville Road. All these plans of Mr. Reese's are very nice. What he wants to do to improve the area and more accommodation for people. But he has not taken into consideration the amount of traffic going past our house. We live off of 9D. Our house down to his property is a very level road compared to coming up Marleville Road from Creek Road. A lot of people walk on our road. It's a recreation area. Kids ride their bikes, and people walk their dogs, and it's becoming more and more dangerous to be on this road. And this is just going to make it worse. I spoke to Mr. Reese about it maybe a year ago, because we had heard there were 14 houses going up, and he said, no, there's only 7. Now, I know back in March of 2019, he had a short environmental assessment form done for Over Creek, and on number 8, where is it? Number 8, it says, will the proposed action result in substantial increase in traffic above present levels? And he answered, no.
Okay.
That is totally incorrect. Between the new buildings going up, the greenhouses, we have companies coming back and forth, picking up vegetables, people picking up their orders, customers coming to the farm Saturday and Sunday for the microbrewery, trucks loaded with heavy excavation equipment and building materials for the projected construction of 7 houses. The above 3 examples have impacted the quality of life on the upper end of Marleville Road, entering from Route 9D considerably. Traffic is non-stop due to the activities being pursued at Over Creek. The section of road in front of my house and several other locations along the road is crumbling. The highway department repairs it in the spring, patch on patch, only to have it destroyed in the winter by the snowplows. and that is my concern, the amount of traffic.
Okay, well,
When
again,
he answers no.
understood.
He
and-
doesn't, he doesn't seem to be concerned about the traffic that's coming through, and this is gonna make it even worse.
Well, the issues before this board tonight, right, are lot realignments. You know, any further building or additions or homes that Barbara stated previously will need to go through the planning board stages, and issues such as traffic and things, and road, you know, use or road wear. All those issues are more planning board issues, not really zoning board issues. Valid points, and again, that they would be more, you'd be best served to appear before a planning board if and when there is a public hearing at the planning board. Again, our purview tonight is basically just lot line adjustments.
Right,
No.
but as you say, whether they're going to have a meeting or not, this is the first meeting that I have seen publicised
Well, if
as
the-
far as
Well, if the,
public.
if there's any future development proposed on this property, it would need to go through the planning board. The planning board would, many steps, but eventually there would be a public hearing. At that public hearing, you would have the opportunity to voice your concerns regarding traffic, foot traffic, road wear. All those issues are addressed by the planning board when there's a proposed action of future development.
Well, how often do the planning board have public meetings?
Would they, go ahead, Barbara.
So this is before the planning board.
Okay?
So they came in as a discussion, we're on TV for all of them, but that being said, before they could approve it or go any further, they recommended that they come to the zoning board and try to get these variances, because without these variances, the application before the planning board can't go forward. So it's basically just kind of sitting over there waiting to see what the outcome of this board will be. Should they get their variances, or some of them, they can then go back to the planning board and proceed. At some point, when the planning board feels they have all the information they need, they will also call for a public hearing, which you'll be notified of if you're abutting it. It will be published in the paper, and these signs that you see, instead of saying zoning board of appeals, will say
Okay.
planning board with the date.
Okay,
So there'll be plenty of notice. It'll also be on our website. And the plan, as it stands in front of the planning board, there's a PDF. You can open it at home and look through it.
yeah, that's where I got this information from.
So there's full transparency. They're
Okay.
here kind of for something so they can keep continuing. They can't continue with the lot line realignments without these variances.
Okay,
Okay?
very good.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll be
thank
at the
you.
planning board.
No, thank you for your concerns. Joe, anybody else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm not being negative about this.
Right.
The only question that I have is, for yourself, and maybe for David, like I said Saturday, you guys are in this business, and you understand it a lot better than we do,
Sure.
possibly.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we may be missing in terms of, maybe Barb could answer this, or maybe you can, any terms of, any legality, we need to have someone else?
No, I think, you know, in looking at the plans and understanding and having that, you know, review on Saturday, I could see exactly what they did and why they did it, you know, and to me, it all makes sense. You know, it's not easy trying to reconfigure lots so that all that works in that package, you know, the wells, the septics, and the topography. It's not easy, you know, and just reviewing what they did with their lot lines, I think they did a good job of it. you know.
So for Tom and for the rest of the board, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, these lots already are legal, non-conforming lots, meaning that in this zone, when they were created, it was fine, but today's zoning, they don't conform. Some of them are severe. He's not making any of the lots, he's not increasing the non-conformity. If anything, he's decreasing them.
Correct.
Some of them he can't get to a point of conforming, but he's making them better, in plain English, than they are. So he's adding land to some of the smaller ones, so while they still won't meet current zoning, they're still bigger. Does that make a little more sense?
Correct.
It seems like it's only lot 2 where that's not necessarily the case, right? Because
Right.
that's being carved out of the bigger site.
Right, but so to be legal lots, they'd all have to be 2 acres. And I don't think they all are. So there are more than one that will still be a legal non-conforming lot. It will be better though for, if there's houses being built, they'll be able to achieve setbacks easier because there'll be more land. Hopefully with the Department of Health, because of the extra land, they'll be able to get their own wells and septics, which on some of them, it's impossible now due to the size of them.
Correct.
And remember, this house was originally part of this huge ag zone with the barns, and we're carving out a lot for it. These 2 houses were on the same lot, and what we're doing is we're transferring this house to the big ag lot, because that's the future for farmers' housing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern with that at all, and I'm not even saying it's a big enough concern that I would vote against this, is that, you know, just the precedent of taking farm lots and carving off the houses that are on them into smaller lots and then maintaining the rest as agricultural. Just a question on the precedent for that. And for lot 2, it is a minor, it's a minor variance, but.
Lot 2 is one of the
Yeah.
smaller, right?
One of the smaller variances.
Yeah, I get it, and I understand what's going on.
Kyle,
Right.
is this being done separately, or, it's been so long since you were at the planning board, did we give you a neg deck at that?
So that, I'll be honest, that was probably Kyle Ahern was the one that was at the planning board meeting, so I'm not positive.
Did we
about
give
the
them a neg deck?
I don't know, I think we did.
Yeah, and did we do lead agency, so is this a coordinated review, or you here separately? Or if you had the neg deck, then that ends it.
To be honest, I would rely on Kyle Senior.
Can you check? No, the reason, so here's my reasoning. If this is a coordinated review, and I apologize, I should have looked earlier, then if we gave you a neg deck at the planning board, the board can proceed with a decision. If we did not give you a neg deck yet, then where you had your public hearing, we'll have to adjourn it until the planning board gives you a neg deck. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's following up right now.
Right, I'd rather, if you don't mind waiting a few minutes.
No, please.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we did give you the neg deck. Yep, okay, so,
So we can proceed?
yes.
Okay.
Judith, just tell B,
Yeah,
thank you.
get
You know, I should have looked earlier, but before we voted, I don't want you to vote on something we weren't ready,
was,
so, great.
A valid question.
It was just something that hit me at the last minute.
Good thing.
Oh, we better make sure.
Okay.
John had it.
But yeah, I think we
Perfect.
established, yeah, they have an egg deck, so it saved you the effort. All right, so if there's no further questions, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public
Do I have a
hearing.
second? All in, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the next, we need to have a motion to deny or grant the applicant the variances. I will make a motion to grant the applicant the variances.
So, just for the record.
Yes,
You either have to grant each lot separately,
Yes.
or make it an inclusive, we're granting all the following variances.
all right, so I need to state
So
that,
just
basically.
state that.
Okay, so I will make a motion to grant all-inclusive variances, right, and all the variances, and I'll go through the conditions. Whether the benefit can be achieved by any other feasible means by the applicant, no, I don't believe it can. We see the effort you've made to adjust the lot lines as best you could to make them less non-conforming. Does it create any undesirable change in the neighborhood? No, it does not. Whether the request is substantial, the request is substantial in several of the cases. However, that in and of itself is not enough for me to deny the variance. Will it create any adverse effects to the neighborhood, environmental effects to the neighborhood? No, they will not. And whether the difficulty is self-created, yeah, I guess it is. But these lots have existed for such a long time. And again, we're of the understanding you're improving the condition, not worsening it. So, all that being said, again, then I will make a motion to grant all the variances on all the lots.
I second.
Have a second?
Second.
John, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please, B.
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzini?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Delacorte?
Yes.
Mr. Delardi?
Yes. Okay, so your variances have been granted, and you may proceed to the next stage. You're welcome.
And come visit again on a better day.
Nope, I don't need any more. You want the rest?
All right, we have one more order of business tonight, and that would be a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. We are adjourned. I'm done.
8:50.